The sun hung low over Maplewood, spilling a soft honey-colored light across the quiet neighborhood. The air was warm and smelled faintly of cut grass and lilac. Wooden fences cast long shadows over neat lawns, and the faint sound of a barking dog echoed down the lane. In the midst of this calm stood a small white house with green shutters and a wild apple tree that leaned toward the street. Inside that house lived Clara Mayfield, a 12-year-old girl with chestnut hair that never quite stayed tied back and eyes that held both thought and wonder. Clara was known for her love of books. While other children ran through sprinklers or played ball in the street, she would sit cross-legged beneath the apple tree, lost in the pages of some old, weathered volume. Her parents often found her still awake at night, a small lamp flickering beside her, reading until the letters blurred and her eyes grew heavy. She read about places she'd never seen, mountains higher than clouds, oceans that stretched forever, and people who had lived 100 years before her. But Clara's greatest joy wasn't just in reading, it was in sharing what she read. She had a small, secret hope that others could feel what she felt, that thrill of discovery, that quiet comfort, that spark of imagination. Yet, when she tried to talk about books to other children, they would shrug or change the subject. Most of them thought reading was boring, or worse, something only done for school. It made Clara's heart ache a little to think that words so full of life could seem dull to others. One afternoon, while walking home from the grocery store, she passed by an old wooden shed near the edge of the playground. It stood half forgotten, with peeling paint and ivy climbing its walls. The windows were dusty and the door hung slightly ajar. Clara paused, looking at it for a long time. Inside, she imagined the empty space filled with books, cushions, and the laughter of children. The thought came quietly, like a whisper, a reading club, a place where stories could live and breathe, where children could gather not because they had to read, but because they wanted to. That night, the idea refused to leave her. Long after she should have been asleep, Clara lay awake thinking of shelves and benches, of stories shared aloud, of children discovering worlds beyond their own. By morning, her mind was made up. She began at once. The shed was dusty and full of cobwebs, but she worked patiently. With an old broom, she swept out the dirt until the floorboards gleamed in the sunlight. She wiped the windows clean, letting light pour in like golden water. From her father's workshop, she borrowed 2 small benches. Her mother let her take a faded rug from the attic and a few colorful cushions that had long been forgotten. Then came her favorite part, the books. She carried them armful by armful from her room, stacking them carefully on a wooden shelf she found behind the house. Some were fairy tales, some adventure stories, others filled with poems she barely understood but loved. By the time she finished, the little shed had transformed. It wasn't grand or fancy, but it was warm and welcoming. Outside the door, Clara painted a sign on a piece of cardboard in her neatest handwriting. Maplewood Reading Club, all welcome. She hung it proudly for everyone to see. For the first few days, no one came. Children passed by, glancing curiously, but kept walking. Clara tried not to lose hope. Each morning, she returned to the shed, tidied the cushions, and waited, reading quietly to herself. On the 4th afternoon, she heard footsteps, light, hesitant, curious. It was Tommy, a boy from down the street who loved to play baseball but hated homework. He peeked in, and though Clara wasn't there to tell him what to do, something about the rouse of books and the scent of clean wood drew him inside. He sat just for a moment, listening to her soft voice as she read aloud to herself. The next day, he returned and brought his little sister. Soon others followed. Lily, who loved to draw and paint, came carrying her sketchbook. Eddie, who had trouble reading aloud in class, joined shyly, sitting in the back corner. Even the Sanders twins, who could never sit still, wandered in one hot afternoon and didn't want to leave. Within a few weeks, the Maplewood Reading Club had become a quiet miracle, a small place where laughter and stories mingled like sunlight and dust. Every afternoon, the children gathered around Clara as she read to them. Her voice carried emotion and rhythm, turning words into living pictures. The children's eyes shone as the stories unfolded. Gardens that bloomed behind locked gates, secret islands, brave children who changed the world. Slowly, they began to change too. Tommy started borrowing books to take home. Lily began sketching the characters from the stories they read. Eddie, once afraid of words, began to practice reading aloud. Even the restless twins started writing short tales of their own, full of dragons and sea voyages. Clara noticed these changes quietly, her heart swelling with a quiet pride she had never known. The shed that once stood empty had become a sanctuary, a place where curiosity replaced boredom and imagination took flight. The highlight of every week was Friday, when the children took turns choosing a story. Sometimes it was something funny, sometimes sad, sometimes full of adventure. Each time Clara watched as their faces lit up, as they discovered something that books alone could give, not just entertainment but understanding. As summer deepened, the reading club grew too small for all who wished to join. Parents began to send baskets of lemonade and cookies. Neighbors peeked in, smiling at the sight of the once abandoned shed now alive with joy. What had begun as a single girl's dream had turned into a small movement of learning and friendship. One golden evening, as Clara sat alone in the quiet shed after everyone had gone, she looked around at the worn cushions, the open books, and the fading sunlight streaming through the clean windows. The laughter of the children still seemed to echo faintly in the air. She realized then that something remarkable had happened, not just for the neighborhood, but for herself. In giving her love of reading to others, she had found her purpose. She had discovered that stories were not only meant to be read but to be shared. The Maplewood Reading Club had begun as a simple idea in the heart of one girl, but it had grown into something lasting, a circle of imagination, kindness, and discovery. And in that soft light, Clara understood a truth that would stay with her always. When one person shares a dream, no matter how small, it has the power to light 100 others.